think we're live. Just get my Twitch up ready so that I can watch the chats. Okay, so we are going to be working a little more on our uh, buildings. So today, just make sure audio is good. Yep, audio looks good. And we are recording. All right, so today we're going to be working on our buildings a little bit more. This is going to include uh, the commissary, well, maybe not that one, but the handicraft lodge, trading post, and the admin building are all three buildings that we've made so far. And specifically, I want to make some edits to the truss frame um, of the buildings, like the triangle part. I've recently done a little more research on Unreal and learned how to make triangles. So that is what we're going to be doing today, is building the truss of the Handicraft Lodge and the admin building and whatnot. So I also have a really cool idea for the Med Lodge. If you remember, the Medical Lodge is kind of like a log cabin in like a Lincoln log style, where the vertex is like stacked on top of each other. So I think it'll be really cool. We'll actually try to build maybe a Lincoln log style cabin type thing. That was the health lodge. So first things first, let us open up the level for, let's try the admin building, because that was the first one that I opened up, and or the first one that I made. So I'm going to save this. Actually, no, I don't think I want to save this. This is just a demo level that I was playing in. We'll just not save that. All right. So the admin building level currently doesn't have a atmosphere or a light. So we're gonna have to add these in so that we can see this. So the first thing we'll do is drop in a directional light, and I'm gonna move this over here. And we're gonna move that directional light down so that we can render our admin building. And here it is in all its sweet glory. And then we're gonna add a skylight. And let's put in a atmosphere. And then we also want to put in visual effects. We did atmosphere. Let's do volumetric cloud just to make things interesting. And we'll do post-processing volume. And in my post-processing volume, let me make sure that I have the right settings. We need to make this unbound, infinite extent unbound, so that all of the scene is rendered in this box. And I think there's one more we need. I think it's under visual effects. And I want to say local fog volume, maybe? No, that's not it. And Unreal just decided to stop working. Let me see, it's frozen. Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Now we're back. I kind of want to be able to see a little bit better. Trying to remember what we do. We did sky atmosphere, skylight, directional light. What are we missing? Local fog volume. Let's see, basics. Not point light. Any other lights? Hmm. Yeah, not really sure. Yeah, sorry. Let me just save this really quick. Let me open up one of my other levels because I can't remember what we need there. Let me see if commissary is good. I don't think I got rid of that. Okay, I didn't. So we have a floor, we have atmosphere, we have sky sphere, we have skylight. Okay, let me take a screenshot of this on the side here. I realize you guys can't see this, but let me bring this over just so I can show you. So these are the things that I need for my level to actually um, show everything. All right, so I have a directional light, exponential height fog. I don't have that. Let's add that. Visual effects, exponential height fog. Okay, that's what it was. That's what I was missing. Okay, now that we can actually see everything, I think the fog kind of scatters the light around, which gives us the ability to see everything. So, like, we just have an admin building, you know, floating in midair, which is fine. Nothing's off about that. um, so we are going to basically fill in this triangle here with a actual geometric triangle. And so the first thing we're going to do is bring in our triangle wall, and we're going to flip this on its side. Let me snap that to 15. Flip it on its side till it is perpendicular or straight up and down. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to move this into position. All right, that's a good start. Let me move it. I'm going to actually make this a little bit smaller because it's a little wide. Okay, that's good. Just move it right on in there and bring it down just a tad. Okay, so obviously that triangle doesn't fit exactly where it needs to be. So I need to elongate these sides and then shorten it up a little bit. So um, need to figure out how to do that. This is one way. I think I can grab the, I think I can grab the details of the triangle wall, which these are the details here for the triangle wall. So if I click on the triangle wall, then I have these details here. Pivot is really what we're editing here. Like this little thing here is called a gizmo. So we have translation, which is the 3 axes. And then we have rotation, and then we have scaling. And this little thing is called a gizmo within the Unreal world. So we need to, I think, move this gizmo to where it's offset in the middle so that we can actually change the size of this from the middle. So I know that the base of this is 400 centimeters wide. So I think we need to go 400 centimeters in the Y, or maybe it's the X. Let's try, or 200 because we need to go right in the center. So I'm going to hit enter there, and if I click it, then we can see it just moved, and it actually moved 200 centimeters up in reference to where we're at. So that's actually okay with me because I think if we just go 200 centimeters in the Y, that should jump us right into the middle. And that did not. Instead, it moved us forward. So that's the green. Let's go back to 0. So then this one should move us right into the middle. Click it again, then that went sort of in the middle. I think. Oh, I see. So now this is gonna elongate that way. So now I need to make the gizmo like basically the normal, which is the straight up and down, needs to be like centered on this triangle, and instead of at an angle this way, it needs to be straight up and down. Let me look this up really quick. I'm going to Google how to change the normal gizmo to point straight up and down. Uh, okay. So let's Google that. Let's say real set gizmo normal straight up and down. I don't know if that's the right way to ask that question. Let's see what AI has to say. Okay, so Alt middle mouse button, I knew that. That'll actually adjust the gizmo. Reposition, drag and drop straight up gizmo until it points straight up and down. Drag and drop to rotate. That doesn't make sense. We could set the offset, which is what we just did. Alternate method. Use the transform tool to switch between transition. Okay, that's obvious. That didn't really help. I think this makes sense. Right crooked. Why does my gizmo move up and down, left, right, crooked? Okay. I think I'm familiar with this. So this is a reference to the world or the self. So this might be reference to the world, which is right here. Let me change this world space, see if that makes a difference. Nope, that didn't make a difference either. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to shape this triangle the right way that I want. World space. Change it back to world space. All right, let's keep Googling here. That didn't work. How to pivot your gizmo to your asset. I like pivot. That makes sense to me. Okay, let's turn on captions real quick. Oh, captions are unavailable. Well, good thing they have. Oh, it's probably got no sound. That's fine. Okay, and then do they rotate this gizmo at all? That is the question. Get it translating the gizmo and moving it up. Transform, pivot, set pivot offset. Okay, I know that. I've looked into that. If this isn't going to work, then we might have to re-slice this wall, which I'm totally willing to do. So this was a 400 by 400. If we duplicate this wall, let's make this triangle wall 2. And let's drag this into our world. And if we move this out. Um, So that gizmo was there and it's rotated that way. How did I slice that? Can't remember how I sliced this, but I used the poly slice tool. We go to selection mode, modeling, then we go to model, then we go poly cut, I think. No, not the poly cut. What did I use? I think I used triangle edit. Yes, and then we're given these triangles that we can delete. I think that's the problem is I deleted a triangle that was like on the gizmo originally. So somehow this gizmo needs to rotate itself. That might work as well. Or we could just do a polycut, which we know how to do that. We did that with our windows on the trading post on our last video. Let's do that. I think we know how to do that, and we can get that done. So in order to do that, we are going to set the width. I guess that doesn't really matter. The height doesn't matter either. We just need to have the right rotation. And we can set the rotation this way. Yeah, like that. Drop this back to 0. And if we set this to 45, then we're going to be at an exact angle. And then we just basically put this to where we have a triangle. And to get this pretty precise. And honestly, that doesn't look too bad. But we actually need this width to be much bigger. And if we drag this to the left, that's up. Can we still get a triangle? Yes, we can. All right, if we accept that, then now we have the ability to make the triangle the exact size that we want with the vertex and the exact vertex. So I'm going to delete this triangle, and Unreal is okay. It's good. Get a little scared every time it pauses for longer than 2 seconds. Okay. All right, so same thing. Let's go put this where it belongs. And I think I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, like I was saying, because it is a wall and it's made of metal. And let's rotate it. That be 90 degrees or 180? 180. Maybe. Let's see. All right, and we'll put this vertex because that's the one that's in command of the other two. Hmm. See, we need to have like literally independent control of each vertex. That's the problem. So I don't know if this is going to work, is it? Mm. Basically, what we're stuck with is this has to be a right angle here. And we need to be able to change that angle. Well, if we go back to triangle edit, can we move these vertices at all? Ooh, we can. But we might want to select both of these vertices. Can I select multiple? Maybe. I think I did just select multiple. Yes. Aha. I think we got it, guys. We can, well, let's see. We might have to use this like that. I'm not too crazy about this, but I think we can make it work. We just have to get very precise. The good part about this is we only have to do this once because then we can just duplicate this asset and then move it over to the other location. All right, that's good. And then we'll do the same with these two, and I should be able to just select them like that. That's pretty cool. Most likely going to have to do this with the dike wall because there's going to be like really precise, um, like faces that I want to make on the dike wall. In fact, I remember there was maybe like an eagle looking thing on the dike wall somewhere, like further down camp near the shooting range, like on the way sort of up into camp. So I kind of want to see if we can make that too. I really want to get as detailed as possible. really interested in doing that. Okay. And something like that. Let's check this side out, just make sure that still looks good. Okay. And then if we just select these vertices, and similarly, we just move them down. Booyah. Heck yes. All right, we'll accept that. And we'll just take this whole triangle and we'll hold down Alt and then we'll drag it and it'll make a second triangle. Just move it over there. You can see this original one is still there. Let's go over here and put that into place as well. What's that? Does that look good? Yeah, it's fine. We might need to tweak it later. Okay, so for this triangle, we're gonna also add, I'm gonna go out of modeling mode. Let's go to selection. We're gonna make sure that it has the same material as the other four walls, which is this painted corrugated white stuff. So if we go to our, I think it's in the fab, and then it should be in, nope, maybe not the fab, or the fab. Is it Megascans, surfaces? No, that's not it. I'm trying to remember where we put that. I'm sure it's not the fab. Fab, Megascans, surfaces. Yes, this is it. And then painted corrugated sheets uh, is the material we want. And for some reason, it didn't let me drag that. Oh, I was trying to drag the folder. We'll go to materials, and then that is the actual material. Put that on, and there we go. Um, yeah, as you can see, that corrugation is running sideways. Of course, that is not how it actually is in real life. The corrugation is probably going to run up and down, so we'll have to probably edit this triangle later, which I'll do at some point. So let's go over to this side, make sure this actor also has the same material. Just drop that there. And there we go. That looks much better. I remember there being a light right here. So I actually want to make some more edits here. Let's add a light. And I kind of did this before, and I want to maybe double down and see if we can find a real light that'll work. We're going to call this maybe like industrial light. And we're just searching the fab marketplace here. And we'll go for free assets. And I was having trouble downloading this last time. Let's see if maybe we have a different experience this time. Exit there. Drag in this static mesh. And I still don't see it. Yeah, it's still non-existent. So that's cool. All right, so let's try a different one. Go back to the fab. Do industrial light. Price is free. This rusty bulkhead one looks fun. Yeah, let's do that for now. The reason I want to put a light in here is because we're actually going to put a real point light to like represent, you know, a light in the real world. I'm going to show you how to do a point light. I think it's pretty cool. So let's drag this light in. We've got static meshes, and we'll put it like right here in the middle. And then translate that, or sorry, rotate that 90 degrees. Let's make sure it's actually on the wall. And actually that looks great. I think it is. Okay, I think we can also make an entity have an emission. Use emission for static lighting. And I want to say we can actually make this thing glow. Emission light source. I don't know how to do it, so I might leave these blank for now. I'll look that up, but we're going to actually add a point light or maybe a spotlight into the environment. We're going to put it right on that that light, and it looks like I accidentally added two. So if we rotate our sun, we can actually see that if it's nighttime, we can see that this is actually generating a light. And in fact, if we shut off our skylight as well, then we can see this point light is still with us, or this this spotlight is still with us. So I'm actually going to leave the skylight off, and we'll turn that back on here in a sec. But if we rotate this, then we can see it illuminates like so much, and it has to have something to bounce off of. See, if I put it out into the real world, you can see these scatter lights here, kind of like dump all this light out into the void. But if we rotate it and we have it bounce against the walls, then it's going to start illuminating, and you can see the camera is starting to adjust to the exposure. This is called auto exposure within Unreal, and it's something we'll have to pay attention to whenever we actually ship this game for real. But I think what I want to do is make this intensity a little bit brighter. I want to also open the radius up a little bit, and I think it's the outer cone angle. Yeah, there we go. So we want to make the cone a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and rotate this in the direction that we think makes the most sense. And then let's try to get this as close as we can to this point, this actual actor here, this light. And it's pretty good. It might do a little bit over. Okay, looks fine. All right, so that looks really good. I think that is going to do. Let me turn our atmosphere back on and our skylight back on. We're going to move this back into morning time, maybe the evening time. You can see what this light looks like in the evening, and we can still see it's illuminating. What's happening though is the exposure from the sky is actually drowning that out, and so we don't get as much of an effect. But that'll look really cool in our SPSR world. So let's go ahead and save this. We're gonna save all of this as our group actor. So let's go to our group actor. Make sure I can show you what we're doing here. The details out so that's not taking up space. And we are going to make sure that our triangle walls are also selected, and our spotlight is selected, and I think our mesh actor, which is that light that we put in there. And I think that's it. That's all that we added. So let's go ahead and merge. We're going to go to groups, and we're going to merge everything together. I think we want to regroup. And that way, whenever we click on the group actor, we can see that everything is selected. So like if I click sky here and then I click group actor, we can see those triangle walls are selected. So that means on this group actor, we can save this as a level instance. And let's choose our admin building because we're going to overwrite that. And we'll hit yes. You cannot unload a level you're currently editing. Okay, then let's call this admin building 2. And maybe that'll just be what we do from now on, is if we make an edit to one of our buildings in the level editor here, then we'll just put a 2 on there. So let's jump into SPSR and update our admin building. We'll put the new one in. So the SPSR one, I probably need to start naming these a little more appropriately. The SPSR one that we for sure are building out of is, I think it's this one. So let's go use that. This is going to take a second to load, so we'll give that just a second to figure itself out. All right. SPSR is currently loading. I found out that all of these trees is what is dropping our frame rate. And as beautiful as these trees are, we probably need to. And these are still the billboard trees, which are the low poly trees. As beautiful as they are, I think we should probably consider getting rid of them and then maybe putting them in later. So either that or we take a while for me to get my actual desktop PC up and running again so that we can get full development cycles with no frame rate drop or minimal frame rate drop. All right, so we need to go focus on the admin building. So I'm going to double click on the admin buildings that were up near it. And let's delete this one. Click on it and just hit delete. And then I'm going to bring in a new admin building. So to do that, we're going to go to content drawer. And we'll go down to SPSR content. And we'll hit levels. And then we'll drag in admin building 2 into the world. Put it right there. Looks like we need to rotate it around. Rotate this 180. Not quite. So 180, so 15 degrees there. Okay. And flying around is nearly impossible because everything is very blocky or choppy. All right, so then we'll just move this a little bit backwards. And I'm going to landscape and flatten this a little bit so that it looks like it's actually sitting on something instead of floating on one edge. So let's just take this, start flattening. And I promise it is flattening. And it may not be the exact precise location, but we'll probably update it later down the line once I can run this a little bit quicker without it being so choppy. Okay, that looks fine. And we'll go back into selection mode. And let's hit end. And should have dropped it, but I don't think it did. All right, let's just drop it ourselves. Oh, I think because there's some grass in the background, it tried to drop it right on the grass, which of course is not going to work. All right, that's a little bit too low. So we'll raise it up just a tad. Like that. Okay. So our updated admin building with the light is now there. I'm seeing this other light right here. I don't know where that came from. I think that's an old spotlight that I had. Let me delete that. And let's just make things dark and see if we still have a light. And we are lit, so that means we're getting real world changes to the environment. It does look like it is illuminated, but it's kind of weird. I might have to investigate it. Let me take a quick gander. All right, now that the world's adjusting a little bit better, it actually looks pretty good. And what it should be doing is illuminating everything in front of it as well. And there's this weird artifact back here, this like this spotlight that's going on. I don't know where that's coming from. Is it coming from this? Or is there another spotlight somewhere? Let me see if I have another spotlight in my outline. There is a spotlight too. Let's figure out if that is the problem. Oh, spotlight 2 is part of the admin building. Okay. Oh, okay. Actually, it just took a while for my world to re-render. Um, yeah, it's being really choppy and really weird, but I think that's probably the best we're gonna do for now with my laptop. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's put it back to like morning or evening, something with a little more light. That's a lot of light. And we're going to save everything. Okay, so I think what I want to do is start building some of the cabins. So we might start with like Dave's cabin, maybe. Um, I think I have some pictures. Let me see if I have those available here. Oh, I had one picture I wanted to share with you guys that I'm really excited about. Since I was a ranger at SPSR, I had the option or the ability to go into the ranger room pretty often, and I took a sweet picture of this ranger room door back in 2011, I think. And the cool thing that we can do is we can actually take this image and I can crop it and I can actually make it a material and then put it onto a door. Um, so maybe if we get a little bit further uh, in our stuff tonight, maybe I'll do that as well. So maybe I'll try to make a cabin and then I'll try to put this material on a door and see if I can make that work. So that'll be exciting. Okay, so I did get some images of some cabins from you guys, and I really appreciate it. The first cabin I want to focus on is I think this is one of the staff cabins up top, up on Staff Row. Um, I don't know if this was Dave's cabin or if this was the other one or vice versa, but this is the first one we're going to work on. So this is going to be a little bit harder of a build because it includes this deck on the front, and also if you notice there is this like contour up here of the side of the cabin kind of like angles up, so we're gonna have to figure that out. The staircase, I've never really done staircases yet, so we'll have to figure that out. Some of these poles here are a little different. The roof, we could probably find a material for some shingles, like brown shingles. But yeah, I think this should be fun. This may be more than just tonight. We might just get started with the main, cabin size, but um, yeah, so unfortunately, the cabin, of course, burnt down in the fire, as many of you probably know, and so that's what it ended up looking like in case you weren't aware. So this cabin doesn't exist anymore, but we're gonna make it exist again. So let's get started. So for this, I saved SPSR. I'm going to go ahead and go to a new level. And we're going to call this one cabin, maybe staff cabin. We're going to open up our basic world and I'll let that load for a sec. All right, so first thing we want to go do is check out Google Earth. And I thought I had a Google Earth up here somewhere. Let's see. Yes, I do. Let me drag it over. So one awesome thing that Ryan, awesome piece of info that Ryan gave me is you can actually go back in time on Google Earth, and I totally forgot that that was a thing. So I appreciate you providing that feedback. Of course, in 2025, that cabin doesn't exist, so we're gonna have to go back in time. So we click this button, show historical data, and so it's gonna basically find all the photos of this area. And we want to go back to, something that we can actually see this cabin and we can get a good measurement for these dimensions. So I think he said 2013 had some really high res photos because they were probably taking pictures of the burnt parts of the forest, and so 2013 is probably going to be a really good asset for us because it has like really good detail. The only problem is the buildings we need are not there, right? So cabin's not there. We see the footprint, but we don't see a cabin. So we're gonna have to find a different year that is suitable. And it looks like 2006 and 2005 might be good. 2004 looks terrible. 1999 and 1985 is like basically, you know, the worst. 1999, I like the black and white, the vintage there, that's fun. 2006 is probably, I don't know, it's a tie between those two. Maybe we'll try 2005. So I think this is the cabin right here that we want to start with. Um, so let's first do a measurement here. We'll do the back and we'll say it's maybe 7 meters, perhaps. That seems like the right point, and then we'll drag it to here. Yeah, 7 meters in width. Whoops. Let me open up my notes. We'll call this cabin 1. We'll say it's 7 meters by, I don't know, this one might be a little harder. 10. Yeah, 10's a good number. 7 meters by 10 meters. And of course, in the photo, Google Earth's taking, this top-down view, but Google Earth doesn't really know about this deck. And so we're going to have to maybe guesstimate this deck. Also, within the cabin, there was like this big wall that kind of bisected the cabin. So we're going to have to maybe cut it in half and then have one room over here and one room over here. So we'll account for that as well. We'll try to cut it directly in half. And I don't know how big this deck is, maybe like 2 meters, perhaps. So we'll play around with it in this level just to maybe get something that looks good. All right, so we're going to start with our handy dandy floor. We're going to go to starter content. We're going to use our 4x4 meter. And let me go ahead and snap this to a, actually, let me delete it and let me put on snapping. And we'll put it on 1. I think we should be able to drop it. Something like that. Yep, okay. Let's move it up just a little bit. And in the photo, it looks like there's like a underside where it's up by like maybe half a meter the whole way. So let's maybe account for that. Um, we'll see how we can do that as we go. But of course, our floor is going to be where you sleep and where you're walking around, where that couch was in there, and so we're going to keep all that on the same plane. I don't think there was any two. I don't. I think it was all on the same plane in the floor, so we're not going to have to worry about that. But let's go ahead and make this a 7 by 10. So we have 4 meters here. Let's go ahead and get 10 meters going. So we'll hold Alt, drag it. I should probably snap this to something a little bit bigger, maybe 50. And should get right on there like that. Okay, so that's 10. We need, sorry, that's 8. We need 2 more. I think what we want to do, and I'm learning this as we go, but I think what we want to do is actually duplicate, and then we want to change the size, because if we change the size and like augment it, then it's going to distort the material we put on there. Pretty sure that's how that works. Okay, and then let's reduce this by, change this to 2.5 or 0.25. Let's reduce this by 2, so that should be 10 meters. And then we are, what did I say? 10 meters by 7. So we should be able to just grab all these, hit Alt and drag. It's going to be 10 meters by 8. And then if we reduce these all by 1, then that's going to put us at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. All right, so that's the floor. And we're probably going to go with the shorter wall since it's a living place. So we'll do the 300, the 3-meter tall wall. And let's go ahead and make sure that we have the snap back on. Let's move this. Let's make this the backside, so that we're gonna yeah, so let me see if I can orient this. I'll show you how I'm trying to visualize this as I build it. Something like that. Right, so we're gonna make this the backside, and then we'll make this the deck. So we'll just go ahead and start putting the wall. I know there was a door over here. We'll add that door here in a bit. But this is just the tedious part that can get kind of boring. And I'm not quite lined up. That actually might be lined up there, but over here, I'm just barely over. Change my grid size to 1. And I'm going to actually translate with some fine grain control over here on my other screen. All right, that looks pretty fine. We'll go with that. I'll drop this down ever so slightly to where it just rests right on top like that. And then finally, let's move this over just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's change the grid to 100, I think. That's what we want. Oh, this is, okay, this is the snapping. Okay, so let's go ahead and move that over. Oops, wrong one. Let's move that over. There we go. And we'll drag both of these over to like right there maybe. And let's drag some more. And then let's rotate this 90 degrees. Try to put that into position as best as we can. Let's just translate this one over till we have kind of this like square. And we'll make this the deck. We'll just hold down Alt and move that over. I really like that feature. That's pretty cool. Where you can just copy things by holding Alt and drag. All right, that looks really good. And we're just going to bisect this with another wall. And same thing, we'll just hold Alt and move it into like there. Okay. Before we put a roof, I think I want to build the deck. So this is going to be interesting. We do have this pillar that we could maybe use. It might be our best friend, because we'll probably make like planks of wood out of this, and then we'll duplicate the wood over and over and reuse them. So this pillar obviously is a little bit too big. So first things first, let's make this a little bit smaller. That looks great. We'll drag this maybe right there. And then let's elongate this, because it does look like it goes into the ground by a little bit. And the cool thing is we can make this as long as we want, and then we can slope the terrain. Then it'll kind of like fit into the terrain the way that we anticipate. But this is, of course, a railing on the deck, and so let's put in a mannequin so we have a little bit of context. So we're going to go to content, characters, mannequins, and we'll go to meshes, and put one speaker staffer in here, maybe a ranger or the program director or something. I don't know. Could be anybody. And I think that railing looks fairly good. It could maybe go up just a tad. I think that's fine. Okay, so it looks like there's 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 posts right in front. So I think I might actually drag this just ever so slightly to the front. Like that. And then we will hit Alt and drag. Alt drag. Alt drag. And let's position these right where we want them. So this one's on the end there. And it looks like this one probably good. That moves over just a tad. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, let's duplicate one of these again. I got a whole alt first. And let's make some planks of wood. And we're gonna have these run lengthwise. And to do this, we're going to change the width here. Oops, let me undo, move them, we drag them. Let's see, rotate them. So we want to turn resize off object snap to surface when you drag them. Which one of these do we want? Oh, this one. Okay, it was just hidden. So whether objects resize at a preset ratio when you scale them. So let me turn that off. And what that'll give us is the ability to make a very fine grain measurement change or scaling change to make this more of a piece of wood. And that looks fairly good. One thing we could do that just came to mind is we could actually get this even more like precise. And by doing so, we would change the scale. And these are in, I think, meters. Yeah. These meters? I actually don't know. Maybe let's not do that. Maybe let's just do it by eye. That'll be fine. We don't have to be perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and make this a piece of wood. And sure, I like it a little bit longer. And then instead of using this piece, we're going to actually just alt drag. And let's go ahead and place this wood down. And do something like that. And I think it should probably go right on the floor where we snap into place. Is that flush? No, it's not flush. I should probably turn off the grid, and then I can put it right exactly where I want. There we go. Okay, I think that's fine. And let's move that over to the right. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And then let's grab another one and drag it over. Okay. And while we're here, let's just make this a tiny bit longer. Something like that. Okay, and let's just clean this up. And we're going to get rid of this gap here in between these two. The way to do that is we're going to grab both of those planks. And we're going to hit Alt and then drag up basically a duplicate. And then we'll rotate that 90 degrees. And then drop that down and over. Just so that gets a little more cleaned up. Perfect. And that is the front. We might make some edits just to make it look a little more precise, and then we'll put a material on, of course, here in a bit for an actual. Actually, it's getting pretty late, so I may just do this for now, but we'll put a material on later, and then I also want to do the test on the door with the images on the Ranger door. So I think to get this on the sides, we're just going to copy that, and we'll hold Alt, drag that over. And while we have it here, we're just going to rotate this 90 degrees and basically move it into place on the sides. And we'll change the size. This needs to come out ever so slightly. And we should be able to hold Alt and move this. Do a 90-degree rotation here. And then put that into place. Nice. And that should be all on the same plane, so we're going to move that down. Maybe right there. Yeah. It's good. All right. So we need to keep doing some railing here. We're going to move this up. We're going to make two rails in between. So this will be fun. We will actually, we might want to do these posts here. Let's maybe build those. So let's drag this out. We'll rotate that by 90 degrees. And then put that right into place. Let's make this a little smaller. And it looks like there were two on the backside there, so we'll put two planks right here. And they don't go all the way down, as you can see, they kind of go like on the side like that. And we want this to be the same height as the top there, so let's move this up. And we can change the height pretty easily here in a bit. Okay, so that's one. Put two. And that might just be ever so slightly taller. So we're going to select both of those. Let's just drop it down. Actually, I think I want to resize these so they come up. Whoa, that's close. Let me resize these in the blue here. I think I can do a fine grain. Maybe not. Just take these in. Let's do 200. Oh, that's the location. That's not what we want. Anyways, let's go back. Oh, okay, Control Z. Thank God for Control Z. Okay. The scale, that's what we want to change. So what does 10 look like? Okay, how about 2? Nope, that wasn't it either. Right. I just have to get very precise. Let me see if I can get this. We want to go ever so slightly longer. Right there, perfect. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 on the front side. So let's take at least 2 over with us. rotate that 90. One, two, three. Looks like one of them was actually like right there. Yeah, that's fine. We can make that work. That there, and then we'll put one in the middle of those. Right there. And then I feel like this needs to go just a tad more that way, and then we'll put a stair, like stairs right here. All right, and then drag this over, and we'll put two on this side. Rotate that 90. Second one there. Okay. All right, so the cool part about this now is that we should be able to just select all of these pieces. And then duplicate them and move them to make one, two, three, or maybe just two, and then we'll put another on top, and we'll make it kind of like a handrail. So we'll drag these, do one right there, one right there, and then one on top. And this one on top is going to rotate by 90 degrees. Oh, it rotates all of them. Okay, so then I'll have to rotate them individually. That makes sense. Rotate that 90. Take these two by 90. And this one. And we should be able to just put it right into place. About like that. And same thing with this one. Try to put that right on top. And this one as well. Okay. Obviously, we need to cut this part out right here for the staircase. So, how do I want to do that? Well, first things first, I think we need another pole, like right here, like this section right here. And I kind of want to move this around by 90. I feel like that's appropriate. Let's move this just ever so slightly there, a little bit down. Okay. And we're basically going to put a staircase right here. So, how do we want to do this? Well, we could probably just resize these. So let's start with that option. So let's just move this over to where it meets up with that. And same with these two. Move these over, where it meets up there. Perfect. we just need to complete these. Let's drag all three of these over. Because now we don't have something there, so let's just do that. And let's drag it all the way like that. And we'll just make this a little smaller. Oh, we'll be very precise here. Okay, there we go. Okay, how do we make a... Let me move the player start out of the way so it's not messing with our cabin. How do we make a staircase? Well, I don't know how far down the staircase goes. Obviously, it goes 4 rungs, but um, I might worry about the staircase later. I'm probably going to have to move everything up a little bit so that I can accurately build the staircase. Um, but I think we're already over an hour. I think this is a good start. So let's save this. I'm going to Control S, save. We're going to call this 1. And let's go into a new level. And I said I wanted to create the door material. So let's bring in a building architecture. Where are we at? Starter content architecture. Let's see if they have a door. I don't see a door, so let's maybe build our own door. We're going to call this, we're going to duplicate this. We're going to call it like Ranger Room Door. All right, so we'll bring that into the environment. And I'm not quite sure how big the door should be, so let's just say door dimensions. 26 by 80. 24 by 80. 26 by 80 is good. So what is that? 26 inches to centimeters and 80 inches to centimeters. All right, so we need a 66 by 203. So 66 would be a little less than a meter, and 203 would be a little over 2 meters. So 66 is going to be about like that. That maybe. And 203 will be that. And we can test this by going to our side perspective. And we can actually measure this with our side perspective tool. So we need 206 by 66. Ooh, so that's pretty close. It's 200 by 77. So let's make this just a tad smaller and just a tad taller. 200 by, okay, that didn't really do much. 66, okay, that's fine. And we'll go into our normal perspective and let's put a mannequin down just to make sure the door makes sense in size. I feel like it's not wide enough. Did I do that calculation correct? 6 inches. Yeah, 66 centimeters. I feel like it was a wider door. Let me pull up the image again. So this is the door we're making currently, the Ranger door. Let's just make this a tad wider. And say that that's maybe like that. I think that's fine. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is edit our um, image that we have for the door. So that's this here. And this is Facebook image because I actually uploaded this to Facebook back in like 2011. Um, I could give you some backstory. We were at SPSR in October, and I convinced the current scout exec, John Hogue. I convinced him to help me and a few of my friends. I think Nathan Jenkins and Rachel Horton. Um, Convinced him to help us climb the West Peak from uh, I think it was from what was it? Like not the traditional, not the Cordova campsite, but some other route. And so he did. He took us on the trip, and it was like probably not the safest thing, and we actually weren't able to summit the West Peak, but uh, good memories were taken from that weekend, and I also got a good photo of the ranger room door. So we're gonna open this up in paint.net. And so I have a temp directory here on my computer that I'm currently working from. And I think I have the image over here. So we're going to open in paint.net because that is what I'm familiar with. And let's go ahead and crop this. So we're going to make sure we get Mexican funnel cakes kills bears at the top. And then let's grab all of that. I think that's good. I'm going to start a new project and paste that in. And I'm just going to clean up a few things here. Um, the way I do it is I just select copy, paste, and I'm going to get rid of this black stuff up here. You don't need that. And same thing on this side. Oh, I guess that is a different shade. I don't know. I think that's fine. I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time here. Maybe I'll just clean this up a little bit. Okay. And then generally I just blur it up by selecting, go to effects, blurs, Gaussian blur, just blur that up a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. So we're gonna save this as a PNG, and it's gonna be your image. Save. And I think we open our content browser, and let's go to our SPSR content. And I think we can just take our door image and drag it right into here. And now it exists as an image in Unreal. If I move this door over, I go to content, I go to door image, and then I say create material. Say ranger room door. And I just drag this onto the door. That is partly the way there. Pretty sure I need to edit the image here and make the tiling a little bit different. So to do that, I want to take texture coordinates and I want to take a multiplier block and I want to create a pair, but I need to create an integer. We'll put the integer into A, put the texture coordinates into, integer into B, texture coordinates into A, and then update the UV. And then let's make this a tiling size. Whoops, let's convert this to parameter. That's what we want. And then we'll name this tiling size. Let's put default value as 1. And then we're going to hit apply and save. We'll X out of that. And if we go to our content drawer, we click on Ranger Room, we'll say create material instance. We'll call this Ranger Room instance. Hit enter, and then we'll drop this Ranger Room instance on top. And that'll now be the material instance. And at this point, we should be able to open up our material instance, and we have tiling size here as an option. So let us, how do we do this? Oh, we take the details out, and I will bring the details over so that you can see them. Okay, so here are the details. And I should be able to just change this tiling size. See that? And now I can actually make the door the right size that I want. Which is... that's going to be a little tricky. Because now I need to change the XY offset. And then also it's backwards, and I need it to look good. And it's not going to be... yeah, it's going to be backwards the whole way. So let me go back into the instance. Or actually, we need to go into the base material. And we need to put in a XY offset here. Is this the XY offset? Not really sure. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I know how to make base materials like I just showed you there. So I might do a little bit of research before I commit to this, just because I think I need to make an offset, but I don't know how. We need to obviously put this down a little bit more in the Y axis so that it maps on correctly on the right size of the door. And then of course we need to rotate it, the texture. So, but I'm still learning textures, but I'll get there. In the meantime, let's make this door just a little bit smaller. That seems appropriate. But yeah, we actually are bringing this door to life for real. And I'm so excited about it because this was one of my favorite parts of the commissary was this door. Just brought me so much joy. Okay, well that's gonna do it for today. We got started on the cabin. Next session, I don't know when it'll be. Trying to move out of my house and actually moving to California here in like a month or so officially. So I'm going to be moving a lot here. I might not be able to get on every single night, but whenever I do, hopefully you have your Twitch set to where it'll give you an update that says, hey, Garrison is streaming again. Otherwise, I'm going to be posting all these onto my YouTube channel, so definitely watch them there. Again, if you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel, if you know, put in the alert whenever I drop a video, then hopefully you'll see it come up. I don't think I'll put it in our group chat, just because I don't want to flood it with data or like with posts, but I'll probably make like checkpoint updates for this game as I go. And maybe I'll put that in the group chat so everybody's informed. But anyways, I appreciate everyone's involvement in this so far. You guys have sent me some really awesome content that I'll be able to use for assets within the game. And yeah, looking forward to continuing on. I'll see you guys later.